Assalamu alaikum and good afternoon. We will start our session with the national anthems of Azerbaijan and Pakistan.
بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم.
In the name of Allah, the entirely merciful, the especially merciful.
ألم نشرح لك صدرك
Did we not expand for you, O Muhammad, your breast,
ووضعنا عنك وزرك
and we removed from you your burden,
الذي أنقض ظهرك
which had weighed upon your back,
ورفعنا لك ذكرك
and raised high for you your repute.
فإن مع العسر يسرا
For indeed, with hardship will be ease.
إن مع العسر يسرا
Indeed, with hardship will be ease.
فإذا فرغت فانصب
So when you have finished your duties, then stand up for worship,
وإلى ربك فارغب
and to your Lord direct your longing.
Now we shall have a small documentary, and after that we'll observe a one-moment silence in order to commemorate the victims of Black January massacre committed by the Soviet military on January 20th, 1990. His Excellency for coming here. Now, I may request Vice Chairman, Ambassador Retired Syed Abrar Hussain to deliver his opening remarks.
Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. Chairman IPS, Mr. Khalid Rahman, Ambassador of Azerbaijan, Excellency Khazar Farhadov, Dr. Tughrali Amin, Senior Research Fellow at IPS, Mr. Khalid Akram, Executive Director, Pakistan Research Center for a Community with Shared Future, our guests from Embassy of Azerbaijan and Embassy of Kazakhstan, ladies and gentlemen. It's my privilege to welcome you all to this seminar at IPS today. As you know, this seminar is being held to commemorate the Black January tragedy. It was 33 years ago when, on 20th January 1990 at Baku, around 140 innocent people were brutally killed. More than 700 were wounded, and 400 plus were arrested just because they had taken to streets to defend their constitutional rights. Unfortunately, at that time, most of the world was with the oppressor and not the oppressed. And according to an Azeri historian, Ibrahim Zainalov, only Pakistan, Iran, Turkey, Uzbekistan, Kazakhstan, and some Arab countries condemned this massacre and supported the Azerbaijani people in the struggle for freedom. However, the sacrifices made by the martyrs never go waste. Ladies and gentlemen, it was a defining moment in the history of Azerbaijan. The freedom movement turned into a political reality, and in less than 2 years, Azerbaijan became an independent country in October 1991. Pakistan was among the first 3 countries to recognize Azerbaijan's independence. Within a year, we also established diplomatic relations with this brotherly country. Our cordial relations are characterized by common cultural heritage, shared perceptions of global and regional issues, and cooperation at international forums. We are glad that Azerbaijan has made great progress during last 30 years under the sagacious leadership of late President Heydar Aliyev and current President Ilham Aliyev. Now it's an important player in regional energy and security issues, and it is a major Caspian region transit hub. Ladies and gentlemen, Pakistan and Azerbaijan have a number of similarities in their history of independence. In both cases, their efforts bore fruit within a short span of time. Pakistan came into being within 7 years after the Pakistan Resolution of 1940, and Azerbaijan became independent within 2 to 3 years after starting its freedom struggle. In both cases, thousands of people had to sacrifice their lives to get freedom. There was Black January tragedy in Azerbaijan, and there were massacres at Qissa Khani Bazaar and Jallianwala Bagh in British India. And last but not the least, in both cases there have been major disputes with neighbors from the very beginning. Azerbaijan had Karabakh issue with Armenia, and we have Kashmir dispute with India. Ladies and gentlemen, in the given situation, it is but natural that Pakistan and Azerbaijan should support each other. So Pakistan has been extending unqualified support to Azerbaijan on Karabakh, and as an expression of solidarity with Azerbaijan, we have not recognized Armenia for the last more than 30 years. Similarly, Azerbaijan also supports us on Kashmir issue, and we hope that the great sacrifices of Kashmiri people will accrue results, inshallah. And let me inform my foreign friends here that Kashmir also had a history of sacrifices. In November 1947, 250,000 Kashmiri Muslims who wanted to migrate to Pakistan were mercilessly killed. And since then, savagery and brutality is being demonstrated continuously against the innocent Kashmiris just because they seek their right to self-determination. It is sad to note that more than 100,000 people in Indian-occupied Kashmir have been killed since 1989. And in recent years, the use of pellet guns against Kashmiris has blinded hundreds and wounded thousands of them. And if all this was not enough, India on 5th of August 2019 acted unilaterally to sabotage the internationally recognized disputed status of Kashmir. However, ladies and gentlemen, sacrifices never go waste, and atrocities are never able to suppress a genuine resistance movement. We have seen it in Baku, and we are witnessing it in Palestine and Kashmir. Let us pray for all those martyrs who laid down their lives for the independence of our homelands and whose sacrifices made it possible for us to live a free life. I thank you all and once again welcome you to this seminar.
Before moving forward, I welcome you, Mrs. Ambassador. Thank you for joining us as well. This day is undoubtedly a day of Azerbaijan's struggle and resilience. Pakistan has no doubtedly maintained brotherly relation with Azerbaijan. I now request Dr. Tughrul Yamin, Senior Research Fellow, IPS, former Associate Dean and Founding Director, Center for International Peace and Stability, NUST, to come on the podium for his remarks.
A very warm welcome to our guests from the friendly country of Azerbaijan, and I believe there are also people from Kazakhstan sitting over here. But first of all, let me address the honorable panel, Chairman Khalid Rahman Saab, Vice President Ambassador Abrar Shah Saab, and His Excellency, the Ambassador of Azerbaijan, Ambassador Khazar Farhadov, my good friend, the military attaché from the friendly country of Azerbaijan. We made friends while I was still teaching in NUST. He used to come there regularly. And other friends who are sitting among the guests. So I prepared a short presentation for this moment. Do we get the presentation? Okay. So although we are commemorating a sad event, the Black January event, which has been highlighted in the documentary that was shown and also in the address that of cooperation, bilateral cooperation. I will not dwell too much on the tragedy because tragedies happen, but we have to look forward. Next slide, please. So this is for the young students. This is how Azerbaijan and Pakistan find themselves on the globe. We are about 2,245 kilometers away from each other, but we are very near to each other. because of certain reasons which have been given, and I will again repeat them. So this is Azerbaijan located on the Caspian Sea, and this is Pakistan located on the Arabian Sea. That one is an inland sea, and ours is a sea which is open to the ocean. Next slide, please. So the basic premise is that Pakistan and Azerbaijan have a very strong bilateral relationship. It's based on common religious, cultural bonds, and shared histories and values. Both countries have a similar worldview and perceive common threats and challenges. Next, please. Next slide, please. So this commonness or these shared things find reflection at the government level. As already said, Pakistan was among the first 3 countries which recognized Azerbaijan, and it was on the 12th of December 1991 that Pakistan officially recognized the newly independent Republic of Azerbaijan. Both countries have diplomatic relations since 1992, and both are members of several international organizations, including the Shanghai Cooperation Organization, although Azerbaijan is still a dialogue partner, but yes, we are members in this organization as well. There have been regular bilateral visits by the heads of government. The first visit was made by our former president, General Pervez Musharraf, in 2004. Pakistan, as already said, supports Azerbaijan's stance on Nagorno-Karabakh, and Azerbaijan supports Pakistan's position on Kashmir. And as already said, we have not recognized Armenia because of our friendship with Azerbaijan. Both countries have very strong defense ties, and the military attaché knows that the kind of ties that we have. And Azeri Navy has been participating. Go back, please. The Azeri Navy has been participating in the Aman series of naval exercises, which are conducted by the Pakistan Navy. Next, please. My point of view at this August forum is that I think think tanks can play an important role in shaping official policies for the common good of 2 countries. So there are at least 2 representatives of think tanks sitting on this panel, the IPS and the one being headed by Khalid Saab on the extreme right. So I think that think tanks can shape official policies for common good of the 2 countries. Currently, I don't see that. So that's why I've tried to bring this up in front of the ambassador. They can indicate opportunities for expanding businesses in each other's countries. What kind of business can there be for a businessman from Pakistan? And what kind of business can be there for an Azeri businessman in Pakistan? I'm sure our chambers of commerce are working on that, but think tanks can also play a very major role there. And last but not least, think tanks can create awareness about areas of interest in the fields of education, science, and technology, and tourism. So frankly, I do not know how many universities are there in Azerbaijan, how many Pakistani students go there. Perhaps you know how many universities we have. We don't have very many, about 244, 199 public sector universities, and rest are private sector universities. But how many Azeri students come to us? I have not seen any Azeri student in Nast, where I used to teach only 15 days ago. So this is an area of potential cooperation, exchange of students. Science and technology. Azerbaijan has a very rapidly expanding industry. Ours isn't. Tourism. Azerbaijan is an exotic place. Baku, despite the fact that it was witness to massacre in 1990, is a place where Pakistanis like to go. Similarly, we have many places of touristic interest for our Azeri friends. We have our cultural capital, Lahore, and we have high mountains in the north, and we have beaches in the south, which perhaps the Azeri people who don't have an outlet to a real sea would find interesting. So these are various things where I think we can, as think tanks, if we can cooperate with some think tanks of of Azerbaijan, we can make real progress and bring our countries closer. So this was the short presentation that I had made. The last slide is just some recommendations. Identify think tanks that can work together in areas of common interest. So perhaps somebody from the embassy can guide us there. Identify topics that require a common position on regional and international issues such as war in Ukraine. What is the position of Azerbaijan on the war in Ukraine? What is the position of Pakistan on the war in Ukraine? What is the position of Azerbaijan, for instance, about the Joint Comprehensive Plan of Action, the nuclear discussions which are being held between Iran and the Permanent Five plus Germany? I do not know. So we can identify topics that we can recommend common positions, common stance on various platforms like the United Nations. And in my opinion, the overall aim should be to craft a Pakistan-Azerbaijan vision 2030. Many countries have done that. They have crafted joint visions. But if we are such good friends, and if we can cooperate in the matters of defense, why can't we have a full-fledged vision in which we can tell our governments how to proceed forward in the next 17 years? 2030 is the date that I have given. So this is 2023. In another 17 years, how do we want to see our two countries coming together? And I think think tanks like IPS can play an important role there. So that's all from my side. Thank you very much for listening to me. Thank you.
Azerbaijan and Pakistan enjoy a strong bilateral ties. We enjoy political, strategic, and diplomatic ties. Besides, as Sir highlighted, that think tanks can play a strengthening role can play a strengthening role. So thank you so much, Sir, for your insights. I now invite Khalid Taimur Akram, Sir, to Executive Director, Pakistan Research for a Community with Shared Future, for his address.
Thank you very much. First of all, I would like to thank IPS for holding this event, and I would also like to thank the Ambassador and Azerbaijan Embassy for inviting me. I would agree with Dr. Tughril Yamin that we should be now talking about what is ahead of us. Since I am very deeply involved with the Azerbaijan government on many issues, so I would just touch upon those topics which I have been seeing in Azerbaijan. How does Azerbaijanis feel about Pakistan, and what is happening right now in Azerbaijan. My association with think tanks and universities in Azerbaijan is almost now for last 7 years, and regularly every year for 5 or 6 times I am in Baku and other cities. Let's talk about first that what has happened in Azerbaijan after the 44 days of war in which the Karabakh got liberated. Since then, the Azerbaijan government and the Azerbaijani president has gone to the world with a very aggressive diplomatic maneuvers to tell the world that whatever had been happening in Armenia and in Karabakh area for last 30 years. I was amongst the first 5-6 people who visited Karabakh immediately after the war, and the complete area had no vegetation, had no human being, even one cannot see any animal over there at that time. In last 2 years, the Azerbaijan government has played a magical role in that area. Now we have at least 3 international airports in Karabakh area, and the first airport at Fazuli was made only in 7 months. It was worth for giving to the Guinness Book of World Record that an international airport was built in an area which was filled with minefields. In those 7 months, not only those minefields were cleared, but the Azerbaijani government made that airport. since last 2 years, Armenia had been constantly violating the peace agreement, and the president of Azerbaijan had been going to almost every country of the world and telling them to play their role. Azerbaijan has played an extremely well-composed role since last 2 years against the violations of the Armenian military. In last couple of years, Azerbaijan has signed many important agreements. First of all is the Southern Gas Corridor to promote the regional connectivity. Then they have also signed free trade agreements with Russia, Ukraine, Georgia, Kazakhstan, Kyrgyzstan, Tajikistan, Uzbekistan, Moldova, and Belarus. So practically, within their own region, Azerbaijan now has a free trade agreement with every country. On 18th July 2022, Azerbaijan government and the European Union, they signed an agreement to double the gas imports from the energy-rich Caspian nation to Europe. And again in 2022, Azerbaijan president was told by all the non-aligned countries in NAM, who are part of the NAM, to continue with the chairmanship of NAM for another few years. On multilateral and bilateral basis, only in 2022, Azerbaijan government signed one very important trade document between Azerbaijan, Iran, and Russia. 6 agreements were signed between Azerbaijan, Turkey, and Turkmenistan. 1 agreement was signed between Azerbaijan, Georgia, Romania, and Hungary. And in all, Azerbaijan only in 2022 signed 150 agreements with 27 countries. So this shows that how rapid the pace of work and the pace of development is happening in Azerbaijan. In addition to that, Azerbaijan in last couple of years has played a very important role in the Organization for Security and Cooperation in Europe, in OIC, in UN, in Black Sea Economic Cooperation, and in ECO and Council of Europe, SICA, SCO, and Arab League of Arab States. So Azerbaijan president and Azerbaijan's foreign minister, they have been very, very dynamic in last couple of years, not only to promote Azerbaijan, but they have been promoting their friends also. For example, after the war in Karabakh, the complete Azerbaijan country, we saw it was filled with the flags of Pakistan and Turkey. So wherever there was Azerbaijan flag for last 2 years, there was flag of Pakistan and Turkey. Pakistan, Turkey, and Azerbaijan are now deeply involved in the military cooperation. As sir, you were saying about the universities in Azerbaijan, I am associated with ADA University in Baku, and in last 2 years they have sent 2 times their delegation to Pakistan, and their admission team had come and they had gone to various universities to offer studies to our students. I think the team was here 2 months back, probably they were again here, and they had been going to almost all public sector universities and private universities for offering admissions, and they are offering very handsome scholarships to the Pakistani students also. As far as Azerbaijani students are concerned, his daughter is studying in Bahria University. She is a graduate in Pakistan. We have now 2 direct flights from Lahore, and we also have direct flights from Karachi. In addition to that, we are establishing now a Azerbaijan Center in Punjab University in Lahore, and also Punjab University has offered 10 scholarships to Azerbaijani students every year, sir. So hopefully we will find more Azerbaijani students coming to Pakistan. In last 2 years, I had the honor to meet with Azerbaijani president for almost 4 times, and since I am part of that committee which is overseeing the development work in Karabakh area, so we meet with the president every 4 or 5 months, and that committee has 20 members from all over the world, and I represent the South Asia region in that committee. So wherever and whenever he sees me in that committee, he always praises Pakistan. And let me just show you that what the President of Azerbaijan normally tells me about Pakistan. Please, can you show the video?
Thank you. Thank you for the words of congratulations. Thank you
To Pakistan, like to ask you to convey my gratitude to the people of Pakistan for continued support during the war. And Pakistan was among the countries which openly supported Azerbaijan from the first days of the
confrontation. And until the last days, always Pakistan was on our side. We are very grateful to Pakistani government and Pakistani people for a very consistent approach to the issues related to our territorial integrity. Maybe our participants, many of participants do not know, but Pakistan is one of the very few countries which did not establish diplomatic relations with Armenia because of the aggression and occupation. And there are only very few countries like Pakistan. So we always are grateful for that, and this is a real sign of our brotherhood. And probably you know that during the war there have been many flags of Turkey and Pakistan in our cities, and it was, we of course were telling who is supporting us, and our people, that was coming from the hearts of the people.
I met twice Prime Minister of Pakistan, Mr. Shahbaz Sharif, during the last couple of months, and we discussed broadly the agenda of our bilateral relations, and this is the agenda of friendship and brotherhood. And we are very grateful to Pakistan for continued support, which the country demonstrates with respect to Azerbaijan-Armenian relations.
During the times of occupation and after liberation of our territory and during the war, Pakistan always was with us. And this political and moral support is highly appreciated by the people of Azerbaijan. We discussed also with Prime Minister how to intensify the economic and trade cooperation, and the decision which you referred to, the special regulations for rice from Pakistan, is a reflection of that, because we decided to make this step in order to stimulate the growth of mutual trade. And as we discussed with Prime Minister Shahbaz Sharif, we need to see what kind of goods we can provide to each other, and why should we buy rice from some other place if we have high quality rice in the brotherly country. So that decision was clearly based on our brotherly relations.
This is just few of the glimpses that how President of Azerbaijan values Pakistan, and whenever I go to Azerbaijan and whenever we have the meeting of this committee, so he always talks about Pakistan like this. And every time there are almost, we are 20 people from all over the world, but the only country he mentions and the only country he talks and he gives times is Pakistan. So over there, whenever I go there, I feel very, very honored that because 19 other country experts are sitting, and whenever the conference finishes, they always tell me that what is special about Pakistan, and I say go and ask the president, because every time he talks very fondly about Pakistan. As you have heard the Azerbaijani president, he has practically told his government and his ministers that if there is anything that can be imported from Pakistan, that should be imported from Pakistan. If we have to eat rice, then why not Pakistani rice, as you have heard him. So Pakistan-Azerbaijan relationship needs to be transferred to our new generation. I totally agree with Dr. Toghrul Yamin that we should the think tanks must play a role in this, and we should have more and more conferences and seminars like this in which we can transfer this friendship. We can tell our young generation that how this friendship has flourished and what the Azerbaijani government and the people, they think about Azerbaijan. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, sir, for sharing your incredible experience and providing your insights on trade and commerce. I now request His Excellency Azerbaijan's Ambassador to Pakistan, Mr. Khazar Farhadov, to come on the podium to share his views. His Excellency has extensive diplomatic experience and has held positions with OIC, Saudi Arabia, and the Republic of Korea. And since July 2021, he has served as the ambassador of the Republic of Azerbaijan to Pakistan. Sir, please.
Dear participants, seminar, esteemed Mr. Khalid Rahman, Chairman of the Institute of Policy Study, Ambassador Said Abra Hussein, Vice Chairman of the Institute, Mr. Khalid Timur Akam, Executive Director, Pakistan Resource Center for the Community with Shared Future, Dr. Tugul Yamin, Senior Research Fellow of IPS, Founder and Director of Center for International Peace and Stability of NAST. And thank you, Madam, for presentation me in a good manner. First of all, I would like to thank the Institute for giving us the place, for sharing our grief, and at the same time, heroic chronicle of our history day. Today, I will try to explain in brief what I can explain in a short time about this 20 January event. And of course, another aim is that for such seminars to disseminate, informations about our relations to young generation, to coming generation, coming researchers, tomorrow's futures doctors, CEOs, this government officials, high government officials, and also ordinary peoples. How we assess this January tragedy. It's almost 30 years past since the January 20, 1990. It has entered in our history as the Black January tragedy. What happened? Happened that the Soviet Army forces entered to Baku to suppress the people's protesting, which at that time US leadership supported Armenian aggressions, which are based on unfounded territorial claims against Azerbaijan. And the Armenians during the Soviet time, in many waves, with the help of the Soviet leadership, deported Azerbaijanis from the today's Armenia, which was the historical land of Azerbaijan. Which you look at the map of the Tsar Russia 100 years ago, you will see all toponyms only in Azerbaijani. You will find very few toponyms in Armenia, maybe even less than 1%. It was the ethnic cleansing that carried out from the beginning of the Soviet Union, start of Soviet Union. All 70 years were exposed, were subjected to such as discrimination and also ethnic cleansing by the Armenia with the help of the at that time Soviet leadership. Of course, it was with the aim to cut the linkage between Turkish worlds, starting Turkey through Azerbaijan, Turkmenistan, Kazakhstan, Uzbekistan, Kyrgyzstan, and also it was against also solidarity of Muslim world at the same time. Our peoples, having tradition of statehood, always struggled for their freedom, independence, even during the Soviet time. And they wanted to suppress these wheels, and they thought maybe with this army strong machine they can erase from our minds the trace of our statehood and our will and desires. But as Azerbaijan nations with its traditions survived and ruled the region 100 years, it can't be happen to us. That's why we also say that this tragedy also one of our brilliant page in our chronicle history, historical chronicle, heroic chronicle. With the destiny of the history, these protests, these massacres that carried out for suppressing these protests also led to Soviet area in Azerbaijan to an end. And today, when we are talking about our independence, integrity, territorial integrity, and freedom, we always remember in our hearts the martyrs of the 20th January. That's why very important date. That's why we every year mourning this day, and our high dignitaries, peoples, ordinary peoples, every year this year visits this martyrs Khirban. And it's also not coincidence that when we liberated our Shusha city from the occupation, which marked the end of the occupation of Armenia and marked the liberation of this territory from an Armenian occupation, our president announced this liberation of Shusha, especially in the alloy of martyrs. It shows against the significance how the government, how the people, how all Azerbaijanis in the world give special respect to the respected soul to our martyrs, especially 20 January. And all these years, starting from this 20 January till now, Azerbaijan's sons gave their life, sacrificed their life for the freedom, for the territorial integrity and independence, which resulted logically in our victory when we liberated our territories from Armenian occupation 2 years ago. If we go to facts, the statistics, I should say that, which previous speakers already mentioned, 150 unarmed civilians, mercilessly, regardless of their age, nationality, including children, women, and elderly, was killed brutally by the armed forces of Soviet army, which also included with its Armenians nationalists. 744 peaceful innocent people were wounded. More than 800 people were unlawfully imprisoned. Because all this massacre happened before Soviet army didn't declare state of emergency. They just suddenly attacked the civilians, protesters, and people catched uninformed. Anyway, these events shows and strengthen solidarity of Azerbaijani nation, people. Just one example I would love to bring to your attention. Our national leader, immediately after this 21st of January 1990, went to Azerbaijan's permanent representative in Moscow with his family members, which need at that time very huge there, and sharply condemned Soviet leadership, expressed solidarity with the Azerbaijani peoples, and demanded punishment of the instigators and perpetrators. And when he was invited to government by the demand of the people, 1994, upon his initiative, our parliament adopted the relevant resolutions on this January 20, because we started the campaign. This tragedy was recognized by the international community, because we wanted perpetrators and instigators get punished and took responsibility for these crimes, not only against Azerbaijanis, but upon this international law norms, must be assessed as the crime against humanity. Once again, today, we commemorate with deep respect and gratitude the memory of all our heroes who gave their lives for the independence of Azerbaijan, as well as sovereignty, territorial integrity, and the freedom of the people. I just went briefly through this incidents, January tragedy, and I wanted to highlight how this Black January tragedy, has its important place in our history of building statehood, gaining independence and freedom for the people. I would like once again thank all participants today that joined us to commemorate and show their homage to their deepest respect to the soul of our martyrs, and also get informed about this date. And I am inviting these participants to explore the study, this history of Azerbaijan independence, and also if we go to this study, we can go also explore and understand well our historical closeness as the two countries. I am very happy today being with you and feeling your solidarity. And I am, as an ambassador, if you have any question regarding our relations between Pakistan and Azerbaijan, I invite you not hesitate, just ask the questions regarding this tragedy day and regarding this overall our relations between our two countries. Thank you very much once again. I think they'll leave the questions later.
For concluding remarks, I may now request Sir Khalid Rahman, Chairman IPS, to come on the podium.
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Excellency Khadr Faradov, Dr. Tawfiq sir, Khalid Taimur sir, and Ambassador Abrar sir, and dear participants. Let me begin by stating an obvious fact. And that is, every day of the calendar is an important day. And you can find so many events in everyday life. Some of the days, however, gain additional significance and a kind of source of inspiration owing to certain events which take place on a particular day. January 20 is one of the most important days in the history of Azerbaijan, and that's why we are sitting here today. Of course, after the Independence Day. On the one hand, this day is called, and I would say rightly, Black January because it is related to the measurable events in January 1991. When the then Soviet army imposed a military blockade, destroyed villages, and killed and detained civilians and killed hundreds of Azeri citizens using heavy artillery. Nevertheless, and I would regard it even more important, that this day reflects national will and determination of the people, and thus became a milestone and a turning point in the independence movement and even later. And that's why we have titled today's session in these words. This is why the day is celebrated, to demonstrate the unity of all people of Azerbaijani descent, no matter where they live. It marks the will and struggle of generations of Azerbaijanis to preserve their honor, culture, language, and identity throughout their long and often difficult history. We share a lot with Azerbaijan, both pains and joys, particularly related to this day. Pain for the sad events that took place on this day in 1991, and joys that have led to the historic victory in 2020, reflecting a great leap forward in the movement towards the unfinished, I would say, agenda of the independence. As has been discussed, Azerbaijan and Pakistan enjoy strong bilateral relations, with both countries sharing common Muslim heritage and culture, and both countries are members of the OIC and the ECO and many other forums, and have worked together in other international forums. When it comes to the political and diplomatic cooperation, there is no doubt that the two countries enjoy extremely cordial relations. An important area of cooperation in the political arena is related to the issues of Kashmir, and I was just corrected by the friend sitting with me that from now onwards, the Nagorno word from the Nagorno-Karabakh has been deleted by Azerbaijan. Why? Because the Nagorno was considered as a translation of occupied in English or Makbuza in Urdu. Oh, okay. Upper part.
Associates with occupation.
Okay, it was associated with that. It does not mean, so that is an important fact that we need to know. That's a Russian word, yes. So while Pakistan was one of the first two countries, as has been mentioned earlier, to recognize Azerbaijan and its establishment, apart from Azerbaijan is the only country that does not recognize Armenia because it illegally occupied the territory of Azerbaijan. So we are, except for Azerbaijan, we are the only country. On their part, Azerbaijan has supported Pakistan's stance on the Kashmir issue. It has repeatedly voiced its support for the Pakistani position about the Kashmir issue, and more importantly, it has called, because there are many countries who talk about the Kashmir issue and ask Pakistan to go for dialogue with India as if it is a bilateral relations. But Azerbaijan's position is that while there could be bilateral and dialogue process, but more importantly, it calls for a peaceful resolution of the dispute in accordance with the UN resolutions. So that is more important. It is also, you know, that it is member of the contact group of the OIC, which plays an active role in continuing the Kashmir struggle. Economic cooperation, bilateral trade, and cooperation in other fields, and we have just informed that a kind of exchange of students is also taking place Students are going from here and coming from there also. So all these things, while exist and is improving, all these things need to be enhanced. And this base and foundation that has been provided by the political cooperation and understanding should lead to extensive cooperation in all other areas of human life. And I'm sure sessions like this are not only important in knowing things, but moving forward for this kind of cooperation. And as Brigadier Dr. Togral has pointed out, in fact, political cooperation is primarily a cooperation between the G to G, government to government. It is foundation, but it becomes sustainable, genuinely sustainable, and open gates for dynamic relationship if it is extended to people. And I was informed by His Excellency just before this meeting that since he has come to Pakistan, he has visited a number of universities and addressed the students, and he is very active in providing information about his country and about the bilateral relations, its past, its present, and the ideas he has for future. And I think he was very eager to have questions and answers, but because of the time we did not go for that. But certainly we would like to have more such sessions not only with you, but also from the universities and think tanks operating in Azerbaijan. I think this will be a good opportunity with this introduction with the institute now you have, that we move forward in this direction and work on some of the ideas that have been presented today also and can come in future also. Importantly, Dr. Togral Yamin showed us the map which told us that there is a distance of 2,245 kilometers. I think physical distances are extremely important to be covered, but more important is the mental connectivity. And that connectivity exists, and we need to build upon that. Thank you very much.
Sir, if we can please distribute the souvenirs among our distinguished speakers and guests. Chairman IPS Sir Khalid Rahman will be presenting the souvenir to His Excellency. And a souvenir to Sir Khalid Taimur Akram, presented by Chairman IPS. Now we shall be having a group photo of our worthy speakers. Dr. Azhar, Sir Said Nazir, if you can please join us here. And Dr. Maliha, please, if you can come on the stage. Uh, would the ambassador's wife, if you can please come here as well, and Sir Nofil, if you can join, please. Thank you so much. Now we shall be having our refreshments. You may please join us.